Hello, everybody. It's Dondre Simpson. Happy New Year. Haven't done any recent videos lately. Need to get more consistent. But for those of you all who don't know me, I'm Dondre. I'm a local dentist in Greenville, South Carolina. So this is my office, my business office. Excuse the mess. I'm just keep it real, y'all. Again, I'm a dentist, but this has nothing to do with dental or healthcare. This page that I have is my personal page. I have different interests, but one of my passions is the stock market. And over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been learning the stock market. Been blessed to have met a lot of different people. Well, not a lot, but because there's not a lot in this field of investing and or trading in the stock market. But I've noticed that people, at least people I know, need money, including myself. That's obvious. People want to make money. People want more money, but people don't want to do what it takes to make that money. I'm not going to really get up my soapbox for a lot of that. I hope to do more of these videos and just share my thoughts, y'all. Like I said, now I am an expert when it comes to dentistry, but I'm just like that big brother, that unk type dude that wants to help people succeed. And that can be done in a lot of ways, but namely, I'm talking about the stock market, because no matter how much money you do or don't have, we all would desire more money. And for those of us who are serious about making the money and not making the money, that's the problem. We're working for our money. Nothing wrong with that. But we have our whys, our WHY, which is a lot of times our family, our loved ones, our children, a passion of ours, needy organizations, whatever your why is. Most of the time we can't give as much time as we want to our whys because we are working. We spend minimally eight hours if we're full-time employees, or we're self-employed, and we're given our most productive time of the day, which is usually, the first 8 to 10 hours after you wake up, to a job or to a business. Again, nothing wrong with that. But when the time comes that you want more money, when you feel undervalued, and when you know that you can do more and make more, but you feel that you're stuck, I'm telling y'all, and I'm 53 years old, so I'm not, I could have, should have did a lot of things when I was younger, out of school. I should have saved more. I should have invested more. But everything happens in due season and due time. So I really feel that if you take the time, no matter how old or young at heart that you are, or how young you are, it's never too late to learn how to invest in the stock market or to trade even in the stock market. Most of us hopefully save money. A lot of us don't save money. Most people live paycheck to paycheck, meaning that there's only a very thin line between you living in a home or apartment and you being homeless. If you was to lose your job today, how long can you last before you have to move out of your house, your apartment, be homeless? Provided that you don't find a job or another means of making income. Hopefully, I want to eradicate that. Of course, now that's I know that's a lofty goal, I can't save the world. I ain't God. I believe in God, but I ain't God, and I don't try to be. But I do hope that God, in His infinite wisdom, um, use me as a tool, as well as you and anybody else, to get His mission across to helping people. And that's a passion of mine. And it's not about only money, but and another thing, we don't love money. Not trying to get too spiritual or religious, but um, the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money is the root of all evil. So for those of you who are, you know, scared of making money because you think money is causes a lot of bad things to happen, no, people cause a lot of bad things to happen, for regardless of what their motivation is, and some of them it is money. Okay, but God did not mean for us to be broke. If He did, there would be no money. There would be no wealthy people who are godly, God-fearing people. There are also wealthy people who are wicked, non-God believing people. And then there's poor people who are God-fearing people who are going to heaven, and there's poor people who are going to hell. So again, money has nothing to do with how you live your life as far as what you believe in and what your true values are. But it does help in the decisions and the things that you choose to do, and what, again, as God would have you to do, He makes it possible either way. So I have taken it upon myself to learn how to make money work for me. There's really two ways that you're going to make money work for you. Some people say it's three ways, and the first way they say, which I kind of not fully agreeing in, is going back to school or going to school. Hey, I'm a dentist, so Lord knows I know about going to school, going to college, going to further education. But I truly, in these days and times, with the cost of what college and school is after high school, unfortunately, a lot of people with degrees and from college spend a lot of money getting that degree, or student loans, or if you're lucky, you got scholarships or grants. But they get out of college and they can't pay their student loans back with the job that they got the degree in, or the field that they got their degree in. So I truly believe in these days and times where the internet and digital means of commerce and ways of making money and doing things, doing side gigs like Ubering and DoorDash. I mean, people actually make a lot of money doing that. Now, do they get rich? I'm not going to say they don't, but if they use that money and invest it so it can work when they don't work or when they're not working, that's truly the key. So going to school is important if you have the desire to be something like myself, a lawyer, a physician, something that you have to go to school for. And nothing against teachers or nothing against people that work at jobs where a degree is a choice, not a must. Uh, you make of the education what you make of it. Unfortunately, and a wise person told me, they say most people that go to college work for people that didn't go to college, because the people that didn't go to college did what they had to do, start a business, and work that business, and then got employees to work for them, and uh, systems working for them, and they eventually were able to hire people that went to college, and then they don't have to go to work, even though most people do work. But I'm trying not to digress too much. I wanted to stick with, and hopefully you'll get the gist of it. So if I can do more of these videos, but if you the video, the video says one stock equals one house. Okay. The primary way of getting wealthy is real estate. But the third way that most people don't understand is the stock market. I truly believe that's how money works. Whether you own a business, own property, or real estate that works for you, not the real estate that you live in, but the real estate that you own that other people live in or work in and pay you rent, or you flip houses and sell them, whatever. Okay, that's truly things that can make money without you actually having to physically do something daily to create a paycheck. But the stock market, I think is the lowest cost of entry to get into investing, because to buy property in the houses usually costs thousands and thousands of dollars, which is awesome. But if you ain't got the credit or the cash, it's kind of hard to get that started until you can make sure your credit is good, borrow money, have down payment money, have a team of people helping you get the house and make sure the house is, built or renovated or rentable, et cetera, et cetera. But the stock market, there is a learning curve, but that's what I'm here for. But you don't need thousands of dollars. You only need $5, $10, $20, $200, $2,000, $200,000. It doesn't matter. You can get started in the stock market. And what people don't understand, and maybe this might influence somebody to start looking into stocks, most people understand houses. Most of us live in some type of house or apartment or some type of dwelling. Those of us who own our property, we understand that those properties have what they call equity. And when you have equity, that means that you own something that has value. And that value can go up or can go down, but it generally is a positive thing that over time makes you money, or is worth money, or rises in value, which means that if it's in your name, you rise in value. Can it go down? Yes, it can. But it doesn't always mean that it's going to stay down. And houses do that. But guess what else does that? Stocks. Okay? And no, a stock is not, thousands and thousands of dollars. Yes, some of them are. But you only need to start small. But not just start small, but be consistent in your investing. Take money from your paycheck and put it in the stock market. I ain't talking about our retirement and 401ks that your job do for you. That's awesome. But I'm talking about you doing this yourself. Self-service investing. Nothing wrong with the professionals, nothing wrong with your job investing for you. Do that. But I promise you, if you do this for yourself, take the time to learn it, it's addictive. And it's not addictive because you're making the money and the money is working and making itself, because money don't get tired, money don't get sick, money don't complain. Okay? Again, we don't love the money. We love what the money can do for us and our loved ones, and creating time and freedom of time so we can do more of the things that we want to do and not have to worry about how we're going to pay our bills. So again, how does one stock equal one house? Equity. Equity is how one stock equals one house. When you own a house or own a property, you have, when you start making payments on it, you build up what they call equity, which means that that's how much it's worth. What can you do when you have equity in the house? It's called refinance. You can go to the bank and say, hey, I own this house or I own these properties. I want to borrow some money. When you have houses, you got equity. Well, guess what? The banks don't tell you that when you own stocks in the stock market, you own equity just like a house. It might not be as expensive as a house, but it can be eventually. And what is a stock? Look around. Coca-Cola, Costco, Lowe's, Home Depot, Google, Amazon. I mean, thousands of companies, thousands of stocks. And if you buy one share of, let's say, Coca-Cola, the drink, right? I think it's 70 something dollars a share right now. We're not talking about thousands of dollars. There's some stocks that are $5 a share, $2 a share, $200 a share, $2,000 a share or more. But let's just keep it simple, $70. Most of us have access to $70. You buy 1, 2, 10 shares of Coke every paycheck, okay? You might not be able to borrow against one share, but if you got 100 shares, and trust me, I do this, you got 100 shares, you can borrow against that. You can make money off of owning a lot of shares over time. You can borrow money based off of the shares that you have, and it ain't got nothing to do with your credit. Because the only reason that we have to have a credit score is because we don't have the money to buy something, and so we got to go try to buy a car, and we don't have the cash to pay for it, or we want to use other people's money to pay for it, but the car loan company or the mortgage company or whatever loan company, they're not going to say, oh, you look like you honest. All right, go ahead. Here go $10,000, $40,000 for a car, $200,000 for a house. No, you got to prove yourself that you're going to be able to pay them back by having a job or what you got, what kind of assets you have, whatever. You're not going to be able to do that, okay, if you don't have the resources and or the credit. When you're in the stock market, all you got to do is have cash. You go buy it, you own it. You own part of Coca-Cola. Now, can you make decisions for Coca-Cola? No, you ain't that kind of owner, but you do own a piece of Coca-Cola. Even if it's $70 worth, you own a piece of Coca-Cola, just like the owner and the CEO or whoever created Coca-Cola owns it. Even though they might be a multi-millionaire billionaire, your little $70 means that you are in the same boat of ownership, just obviously a smaller stake owner. So when you have that ownership, long as you're consistent, you build it up, you can borrow against it to buy a car, to buy another investment, to go to Tahiti on a vacation. It doesn't matter. But most people don't understand that because we are trained to go to work, put our money in a bank, and pay our bills. And if we're lucky, we tithe and to the charities or to God, and we pay ourselves so we can invest 10%. Nothing wrong with that. But the banks, as soon as you put the money in the banks, guess what those banks are doing? Your money is not sitting in a bank like you think it is. As soon as you put your money in the bank, that bank takes your money and go in the stock market and invest. They also take your money and loan it to other people to buy cars, houses, whatever. And most of the time you ain't getting nothing for the very little interest, which is like point something 0.001% a year, not even a month. So we're going to start learning about a lot of that stuff, y'all. And I just wanted to kind of just share this stuff with you all so you all can, start, communicate with me. Let's get together. I got a little investment group called Making Money Work for You. Again, you see my little dental stuff here, but hey, I got to get on this thing when I can. But yeah, understand one stock equals one house. It's a lot cheaper, but can be a lot more than a house too. If you stick with it. All right. So if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Or hit me up on any of my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. I'm Dondre Simpson, and I hope all y'all have a great day.